welcome back to the channel. In this series, we break down complex OmniStudio concepts into simple, practical insights you won't find elsewhere. So let's get started and see what happens.
So all of you might have used the edit block component in the OmniScript. So as you can see, I have prepared a demo OmniScript where I have utilized a simple edit block which has a clone elements enabled and the limit repeat is set to 5, which means that you can clone the elements. So let's run it once and see the results. So as you can see, the cloning is happening. But what if you want to disable the cloning of the elements within by using the same component? So what the normal approach is, like what all the people follow is you clone this element and make the clone element as a disabled, and then you give the limit repeat as a blank, then it will not allow you to clone the element. But what if there is already an OmniScript flow which is already existing and the node names are already being sent to the further flows where it is doing the data mapper save and everything. So all your further logic will get disturbed just for a simple logic where you don't want to allow the clone elements option. So let's first design one flag variable by which we will be uh, uh, controlling the visibility of the add button on the edit block. So let's first take a set values. So what I am doing here is taking a simple set values component, and I am taking one variable show add button, and I am giving it as a true. So based on this flag variable, what we will do is we will show and hide this add button. So how this is possible? So via the normal OmniScript flow, this is not possible. This is only possible by doing the block properties override. So how we can override the block properties is by using a custom lightning web component. So let's write a custom lightning web component to achieve our goals. So what I will do is I will simply create a custom lightning web component. I will give it the name as hide add button repeater block. I will give the same name, and the targets I will give it as all, and I will deploy it. So the component name should start with the lowercase. So we have one custom lightning web component which will override the properties of the edit block. Now in the HTML part of the component, we don't need to add anything. All will be done via the JavaScript. So in the JavaScript file, simply if you want to override an LWC component which you want to use in the OmniStudio, you have to extend the OmniScript base mixin. But we are not extending it as we are overriding the block component. So simply what we can do is we can import the base block component which is available. Import OmniScript block from OmniStudio OmniScript block. So simply what we will do is, in the rendered callback, we will write one set timeout method just to make sure that our DOM is being rendered before it goes and fetches the edit button. So in this set timeout method, what we will do is, first of all, we will fetch the flag which we are initializing. So when you want to access the elements, I mean the values of the OmniScript inside the LWC block, you have to use the out of the box annotation, which is the JSON data. So let's use the JSON data. So based on this flag, so let's say if this flag is false, then simply what we will do is, we will take a constant of buttons, and then on that constant we will use a template query selector all. What this will do is, what basically we are trying to do is, we are trying to catch that button which is rendered inside the DOM and give the property as a display none. So let's give the class. I will show you from where this class comes. It is same across all buttons. So how to get this class in our LWC component so that we can basically target the add button and hide it. So simply what you have to do, go to your OmniScript preview, hit the inspect, and then using this cursor you have to navigate to this block where the add button is being uh, hidden. So if you navigate it properly, you will find this block. So simply what you have to do is, you have to just copy this class and just paste it here. And let's say for example, I will show you this way, and whatever the spaces which you encounter, you have to just give simple a dot notation and you have to paste it here. That's how it will work. What I will do, I will write a for each loop. In this for each loop, I will run through this array of buttons, and then for each button, what I will do, button dot style dot display property is equals to none. And in the set timeout property function, I will give a timeout delay of 200 milliseconds. So what we are making sure here is simple, like that should be a small delay so that the DOM gets rendered and we will be able to hide the edit button. Let's try to save this. Okay, so what happened is our deployment is done, and let's try to access this component in our OmniStudio console. So let's refresh this one more time. And when you click on here, Lightning Web Component override. So if you add your LWC here, you can see that it is visible. Now let's try to change the flag. First of all, let's keep it as a true and check the behavior. So when you run this OmniScript, so as you see, the show add button is true. That is the reason it is showing the add button. Now let's try to make that flag false. So let's try to make that false, and what condition we have given. If this is false, then it will hide the add button. So simply the cloning should be disabled. So what we are doing is we are not changing any of these properties, so that our existing OmniScript which is present, by which we are doing the data load and everything, is not disturbed. So if you can see, the add button is set to false and you are not able to see any add button here. So as a result, you cannot clone any of the elements. So this was a very small but a very critical concept if you want to reuse an existing flow where you want to disable the cloning property of the element in the existing flow based on one flag. So thank you everyone. That is it for today's video.